Vele was amazing. I think he is, poised to be a global superstar. I think that he has everything that it takes, and when you watched him fight, I think, and to hear how young he is, there's exciting days ahead for him if he continues to stay on the path and continues to work hard on his craft. And he was a two-weight champion, but when you watched him fight, he was phenomenal. Like, similar to what I was saying about Vele and what I saw out of him, he was just so explosive, so precise with his striking, but then very charismatic. That's the one thing that I think people do not appreciate enough about Conor.
Добре дошли в спортната джунгла с Оги Георгиев.
Малцина вярваха, че Конър Макгрегър ще дойде в България, но той беше тук и беше основна част от голямото шоу Max Fight 56 в зала Арена София. Заедно с него през цялото време беше и мениджърът му Оди Атар, един от най-влиятелните хора в света на бойните спортове. Днес специален гост на спортната джунгла ще бъде Оди Атар. Борноинър продължава да превзема световни и европейски пазари. Разгледайте и поръчайте от протеиновите барове на компанията на техния онлайн магазин. Адресът е долу в описанието. Защо Оди Атар хареса един точно определен български боец – Борислав Велев? И каква е причината той да сравни Боби Велев с младата версия на Конър Макгрегър? Останете с нас, за да разберете. Нашите приятели от Arnold Foods откриха нов ресторант. Той се намира точно срещу арката на Националната спортна академия. А там често може да гледате големите бойни гала вечери, които се предават в България. Защо Конър Макгрегър толкова дълго отсъстваше от клетката? И каква е причината той да се завърне чак в началото на следващата година? Ще разберем от неговия мениджър Оди Атар, който разкри и името на най-вероятния съперник на Конър Макгрегър. Ако това видео ви харесва, смело дайте едно лайкче, абонирайте се за спортната джунгла и задължително натиснете камбанката, за да получавате известия за всеки нов клип. А в нашите социални мрежи Facebook и Instagram ви очакват интересни новини от света на спорта. Посетете и нашия обновен онлайн сайт jungle.bg, където може да видите по-разширените версии на новините. Очаквам от вас долу в коментарите мнение дали Боби Велев има голям потенциал да се превърне в световна суперзвезда, както смята Оди Атар. Приятно гледане! Оди Атар, the manager, the business partner of Conor McGregor and the person who brought Conor McGregor in Bulgaria. Welcome to the jungle of sports, sir. Would you tell us first, because many people in Bulgaria didn't believe that Conor will come here to our country. How that happened?
So first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a very, very lovely experience visiting Sofia, Bulgaria. So our partners in Proper 12 Proximo have obviously been working very hard on the brand, and we have distribution partners all around the world, including in Bulgaria, and here specifically it's Coca-Cola Hellenic, and Coca-Cola Hellenic and its staff, led by the likes of Vlad and other great individuals that not only have believed in the brand, but believed in Conor McGregor, and really saw that we have something special in Proper number 12. Have been strong advocates, and they were not only the key proponents of bringing the brand to Bulgaria, but more importantly had a vision that it was very, very much in line with how we operate. We're very ambitious, we dream big, and we dare to defy the odds and go after things that we're very passionate about. And so, Proper number 12 has done amazing numbers. And while Bulgaria is a small market, we always believe in supporting those that support us. We always believe in aligning ourselves with people that think the way we think. And you know, for those reasons that I already mentioned, you know, when they made the request, hey, would you guys be interested in coming to Bulgaria to do an in-market visit? When I met with Vlad and his team and I saw the passion in their presentation and the vision that they had for the brand, you know, for me, it was important to, again, as I mentioned, support those that support us. And I love what they've done. And, you know, the brand is in its first year here in market, but it looks to not only continue to break records for the Irish whiskey sector and category, but pursue that number one spot and claim that in due time. And I'm very confident in the team here, and the trip has been an amazing experience. And so it goes even beyond our team and the people we met, the warm welcome that we got, the hospitality, the excitement about not only our brand, but you know, about us as people was amazing.
Great. Tell me about the experience from yesterday fight night. I watched you very carefully and you never missed a thing from the fights. You watched how the fighters are walking to the ring. What was the reaction of the public for each fighter? Was it this something from your managerial qualities just to value the fighters, not only as the fighters in the ring or in the cage, but also with the side value that they are having?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, that the way we've built our platform and our entire business empire really is through sport, right? And ultimately, every athlete has a journey. It doesn't matter whether it's on the regional level or the global stage. To get to the global stage, you have to go through the regional level. So for me, it's just to take it all in and to really experience the culture of the event, the culture of each fighter in the corners that were competing in the night, the energy that they were bringing into the fight, and to analyze it. To your point, it's probably due to my experience as a manager and as even a former sportsman myself, to see, you know, what the energy was like, what the fighter was feeling, what were they showing, what cues were they showing from a nonverbal communication perspective, and who was more prepared. And then obviously the competition, because once the bell rings, nothing else matters, right? And so you could see someone be maybe more nervous on the walkout than the other, but when it comes down to competition, the nerves go out the door, and it's about executing the game plan, right? And so that was important for me to watch. And of course, you know, taking the crowd in and the energy and seeing all that live is always an amazing thing to experience. And I think it was close to 10,000 people, and for a regional show, to have that many people there supporting their local fighters and supporting the local event, I thought was an amazing thing. Got to see some amazing acts in between as well. I thought that was a unique twist, from musical performances to bands and rappers to also dancers. You saw some not only, you know, choreographed dances, but really also acrobatic dances that felt like you were in a Las Vegas musical show like Cirque du Soleil or something to that extent. So it was an amazing experience, and you know, Lubin and Max Fights, I think, did a great job. They were so hospitable as well, and respect to them, because at the end of the day, it's really hard to throw these regional shows. I think people think that they're printing money, and that's not the case. They're actually more of an investment. And for someone like that and the sponsors that support the event, including Proper Number 12, you know, it's really to support those up-and-coming fighters, to give them the opportunity and the platform to develop their athletic skills, to build their record, and hopefully get noticed, again, go on to either European championships, national championships, European championships, then hopefully on the world stage, whether it's, you know, world championships, Olympics, or even professionally as it relates to their respective sport. Did you saw
someone from the Bulgarian fighters who's got the talent and the potential to become a world star? Borислав Velef, Josip Panov, other guys.
Vele was amazing. I think he is, you know, poised to be a global superstar. You know, I think that he has everything that it takes, and when you watched him fight, I think you know, and to hear how young he is, there's exciting days ahead for him if he continues to stay on the path and continues to work hard on his craft.
Would you like to work with some Bulgarian talent like him, for example, to offer all your experience, all your connections to get him to the next level? Because here in Bulgaria, one of the major problems is that we don't have good managers who could give our fighters a nice path towards the world glory.
Listen, we're here, obviously, and one of the things I even talked to the different gentlemen, even Luban, right? I mean, there are existing managers, and I know he works closely with them, and it's all about community. What I felt from them is that there was not these individuals that were doing it for the wrong reasons. They all were rooted in the right purpose, which I respect. To me, you know, in this business, it's very different with different people in different regions, right? But one of the things I told them is that anything I could do to help, of course, we'd work with them as a cooperation as opposed to just coming in and saying, hey, you know, this talent, I could be the better one for you. You know, that's not the appropriate way of doing business. I'm a big believer of cooperation. So even though they may have existing managers, existing promoters here locally, I think what they could benefit from is the partnership with a group like ours internationally. So certainly we're open to that, and if the opportunity presents itself and it makes sense for both sides, that will happen, and those discussions definitely took place.
Did you celebrate this summer 10 years from your first meeting with Conър Макгрегър?
I guess you could say it's our 10-year anniversary. Yeah, we've been on an amazing ride for the last decade together.
So, do you remember the first meeting with him, how you approached him, and what you saw in him when he was still younger during those times?
You know, similar to the Max fights, right? At that point in time, Conor was fighting on the regional level, Cage Warriors, and he was a two-weight champion. But when you watched him fight, he was phenomenal. Like, you know, similar to what I was saying about Velez and what I saw out of him. You know, he was just so explosive, so precise with his striking, but then very charismatic. That's the one thing that I think people do not appreciate enough about Conor, is that he's both a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal fighter, but then he was also a phenomenal entertainer. Had that charisma about him, and he was just being himself, right? And so that it factor jumped out right away. And so I do remember our first meeting. Actually, it was, you know, him and I exchanged some texts first, and then the first time we actually spoke was a Skype video conference with me, him, and John Kavanaugh. And so, you know, fast forward 10 years later, we've been on quite the ride together, and I'm very lucky and fortunate not only to call him a client and a business partner, but a friend. And we've been through a lot together, and hopefully 10 plus more years together as well.
It seems this kind of connection is very important, not only to be a manager fighter, but also to be a friend. And sometimes maybe you decided more to use that friendship instead of just going as a manager for him. Is it true? Do you have such occasions?
I've always operated that way, whether it's with the clients or even, you know, my own team, right? And sometimes it works out for you because you put your heart and soul into something, and people honor you back. But sometimes you do the same and people betray you. And so what you can't, and I've been in this business now over 20 years, and I've been, you know, stabbed in the back very many times and let down and gotten my heart broken, you know, but I still lead with this, and because it leads with purpose, and for me it's important, you know, so no matter how many people, you know, betray that trust, I still stay true to who I am, because ultimately I think that wins the day. And this is a business where you have to care enough about the athlete, and it can't just be about the money, because if it's just about that, then it will be an issue. But certainly when they betray your trust, well, then it becomes then just about business, because they showed you their true color, right?
And when you are a friend with the fighters, is there sometimes when you are saying to them, okay, you need to rest a bit more, you need even to stop fighting because you could be hurt?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that I've had a long career, and several clients of mine that could attest, one long after I'm gone, that behind the curtain, if you will, we have real honest conversations about anything. So whether it's health, whether it's my opinion, I don't hold back and let them know, hey, you shouldn't continue to fight anymore for these reasons, but ultimately they have to make the decision themselves. But I certainly have those honest conversations, and vice versa. They have honest conversations with me as well. That is important for any relationship, right? To have honest dialogue and communication. Without that, then there's no healthy relationship. And I think it's important in terms of the relationship, the loyalty has to go both ways, right? You have to talk about hard things. You have to be able to communicate and not just hold things and then all of a sudden, betray each other, if you will. But that happens in this business, unfortunately, and you have to just roll with the punches.
What is the future of Conor McGregor in the fight sports? He said in his last interviews that he would like to return earlier next year, probably fighting Michael Chandler. Is this the best possible option for him? And is there some serious conversation on that topic with UFC?
Listen, absolutely. That's the game plan. And everybody, Conor's very excited, wants to get back in there. He always said, tomorrow, next week, next month, right? But the reality of it is we've gone through the right procedures, and Conor's always been someone that followed the rules and the plans that were in place. When he was actively fighting prior to the injury, he was the most tested athlete in the USADA testing pool per the UFC program. We were out because of an injury. We didn't do anything wrong. He has not committed any wrongdoing. We re-entered the pool correctly. We've done everything asked of us to re-enter the pool correctly, and now he's being tested, and we're ensuring that he's not only making sure that he's showing up to those tests, but we're updating his whereabouts, and we're staying consistent with all the necessary requirements per the existing USADA and UFC testing protocols. But then if UFC has announced that they're switching to drug-free sport international, and USADA has literally put us in the middle of their business dispute with the UFC. I don't know why, and it's very inappropriate and uncalled for, but I'll leave that to them. And ultimately, also, we have an issue with what they've said about Conor publicly because it's not true at the end of the day. So we're going to continue to do the right things, and because of the plan, we have 6 months that we have to stay in this pool before he fights next. And so the likelihood of him fighting in April is what the timeline is lining up to be, and that will likely be Michael Chandler. Yes, we just did the Ultimate Fighter. I think fans want to see that fight. Michael Chandler has been also waiting for this fight as well, and Conor could fight anybody, and ultimately he always says that I just want to compete. And this is something I've always talked to him about. He doesn't have to fight ever again in his life, right? And he's done very well for himself, so he loves the competition. That's the one thing about it, and he still has it in his tank. And one thing I always tell him, if you want to do this, then you have to make sure you focus on the things that you need to do to go in there and be the best version of yourself. Otherwise, don't do it, because you don't have to, right? So ultimately, he's still in his, from an age perspective in mixed martial arts, the early 30s I think could be your prime, because you have so much experience that you could give to. You just have to put in the work, because the physical preparation is the most important, as well as the mental as well, right? And for him, overcoming that type of injury, he's come a long way, and as he said, it was some of his darkest moments from his athletic career perspective. But he's come a long way, and we have the best medical support. We have the best support for him in terms of getting him there, and now it's just making sure between now and April he's preparing himself not only physically but mentally to get back in there to compete and be the best version of himself.
Did you saw him yesterday during the fights? How excited he became when he saw the exchanges, the blood flowing around, and it seems like his desire to get back to the cage was boosting right away.
Absolutely. Well, I always say this to him because we've been together, we have a laugh at it, but when he gets into fight environments like arenas and the fans and the competition and the corners and the walkouts and then the actual fights, his energy level goes to the next universe, right? It's on another level, and so he gets so excited by it, and he wants to get in there to compete, which is great to see. And it's one of his own continued goals to work on is that energy, right? And when that energy should be given out, when it shouldn't, right? And that's important as well, because but he loves it, and ultimately that's something that you can't teach. That level of passion for this sport and combat sports and the competition is great.
He seems very happy here in Bulgaria. He gave thousands of photos with everybody from the crowd, and it's totally different from some of the ways the media in the United States, even in UK, are describing him, and many people could be surprised by his behavior, but he's so natural. He's one of
That's
us.
the Conor I know. See, Conor is the notorious one, right? And people are going to love him, people are going to hate him. But they're always talking about him, either way, like, right? And ultimately, what you guys got to see is the real Conor. And it was the energy that was given to him is the energy that he gave back. The promoters kept telling me, like, gosh, he doesn't have to do any of this stuff. That wasn't planned. It wasn't an obligation. It wasn't something that, from a business requirement perspective, that he was obligated or to do at all, right? This was him giving his energy back. It's the energy he was receiving. And I think that's big for Conor. Sometimes he walks into an environment and the energy's negative, he's going to feel negative back, right? And again, going back to things that he has to continue to work on, he has to continue to keep his same energy no matter what energy the room gives him, whether it's good or bad. But Sofia and Bulgaria in general has welcomed us with open arms, the hospitality, the love, the warmth. We felt it the entire time. And so with that, you got it back from Conor.
Great. Thank you, sir. Last question. Are you coming back to Bulgaria, and when? For another proper night in Sofia, for example?
Well, we're certainly going to come back to Bulgaria. Don't have any immediate plans, so I can't tell you when. But given the amazing experience we've had now, we're certainly going to be back to Bulgaria, and I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you very much, sir. Everybody from Bulgaria appreciate what you and Conor did here, and to motivate the young fighters, it was amazing. All the guys around the ring were really appreciative of that.
Thank you.